All right. Hey, everybody. Miss Rebecca again today. I'm out here enjoying the beautiful sunshine in West Marion. I'm actually up here on the playground at West Marion Elementary. So if you hear some kids yelling in the background or whatever, that's just my two boys, Austin and Hunter, are playing outside, soaking up some vitamin D in the sunshine. I want to apologize yesterday. For yesterday, my video cut out. I was having some internet problems. I'm sure that you guys can all probably relate. I think that's a common thing here in the county that we've been seeing is some serious technical difficulties going on here lately. So I've come up here and I'm using the Wi-Fi at the school because my Wi-Fi at home is still kind of spotty. So I'm just going to continue on with what we were talking about yesterday. So if you weren't here, I'll fill you in, and then I'll start reading my story. If you guys see me looking down, I've made notes because I tend to babble a little bit if I don't have my thoughts organized. So this is actually a real lesson in perseverance, and that's what we were talking about yesterday. For those of you that weren't with us, the definition of perseverance is persistence in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. And I have run into many difficulties and a lot of delay in achieving success in this live video. So hopefully we can persevere on and we can achieve success today. So we were talking about a little girl yesterday and her lesson in perseverance and what she was going through. She really was going through some trials and some difficulties. I'll just start the story over because I had difficulty even viewing my video, so I really don't know where I stopped. So we'll just start back over and we're going to persevere on, and I'll tell the story, and then we'll carry on with our Tuesday afternoon. So the story begins just a week after Christmas. It was during Christmas break, and this little girl, her family that lived far away, some cousins had come to visit her and her family for the holidays. And it was an exciting time full of laughter and good cheer, and she and her family were getting reacquainted. They hadn't seen each other in a long time, so they were catching up. It had been about a year since they had seen each other. And during all of this catching up and everything, they decided to take a hike. The little girl lived in a mountain town, and her house had a lot of hiking trails nearby. And one of the favorites was a hiking trail that went to the top of a ridge with a beautiful view. And the cousins decided they wanted to hike up there. So the cousins, their dad and the little girl and her cousins, they took this hike up into the mountains, and it was a couple of miles. And even though it was a cold day, and they were on a very rigorous hike, so they got warm, and they decided to rest and have some water and have a picnic lunch up there on the top of that ridge. So as they were finishing up eating, they decided to explore the little area where they had stopped to eat, and the little girl noticed that there was a small path that went through some bushes. And the little girl decided she wanted to see where that path went to. And the path wound down a slope and into a beautiful meadow with a small clear stream gurgling through it. The little girl was taken aback by the beauty of this meadow, and in her excitement she wanted to show her cousins this beautiful place that she had found. It looked like something out of a fairy tale. So she was excited, and she runs back up the trail and through the bushes and through the undergrowth, and she realizes that none of her surroundings look familiar. In a panic, she looked around to see if she could figure out where it was that she had taken a wrong turn, and she took one path and then another, and she realized that she was all alone, that she didn't know where she was, and she could no longer hear the familiar voices of her family. So she began to panic, and she got scared. And in that fear, she began to cry, and she cried, and she cried, and she thought about her mother, who wouldn't even know that she was missing yet, and how long would it be before her cousins realized she was gone? If she called out, would anyone hear her? So she cried out, and she cried out, and she yelled, and she cried and screamed until her throat ached. She decided to retrace her steps, but she was still hopelessly lost. She rushed to the stream and started to follow it after a voice inside her head reminded her that her grandfather had always told her if there was a stream nearby to follow it, it would lead her to people. So she decided to follow the stream, but she quickly realized that that path was also impassable. She couldn't make the way down. She looked and she looked, and as she looked up, she realized on the top of another ridge on the other side of the meadow, there was light glinting off of something. As she squinted her eyes and looked closely, she realized that it was light glinting off of a window. It was a house. The little girl climbed up this steep bank, and she twisted her ankle, and a stick wound up poking her in the eye, and she was about ready to give up, but she kept on keeping on. She got to the top, and she got to that house, and the little girl was heartbroken when she realized the house was empty. There was no one there. But she realized this house had a driveway, and that driveway would most likely lead to a road, and the road to people. So she took the driveway down, and she realized that she had found another house along this driveway. It was a long driveway with multiple houses. She went and she knocked on the door, and luck would have it, there was a kind lady who agreed to help the little girl. The kind lady gave the little girl a snack and listened in amazement at this little girl's story and what she had gone through. She asked the little girl's age, and the little girl said, "I'm 8, I'll be 9 in just a few weeks." And the lady was just intrigued by this little girl, and she told her, you know, most children would have given up. I'm so glad that you used your good sense and you found me, and that you persevered on. And she used that word, persevere. So the little girl was able to make her way back home. The kind lady helped her, and the little girl gave her directions, and the lady helped her home. The little girl was gone for a few hours. A search party had been called out, and they were very happy that the story had ended happily and that the search party was able to disband and go home. So the little girl made it to safety. It was a happy ending, and through perseverance, she was able to make her own way home. She never gave up. She worked